It is the kickoff to a 4-game homestand. The Edmonton Oilers welcome in Alexander Ovechkin and the Washington Capitals. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Oil Stream pregame show, live on location at Hudson's Bourbon Street at West Edmonton Mall. Tom Gazzola, YouTube Trev, and Lieutenant Eric, the man himself.
How you doing?
A quick cameo appearance. Although you can stay as long as you want, I'm not going to lie to you.
Well, I'll be kicking around the establishment for a little bit here.
You are the ambassador.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to pop on and just say, and people continue to pour in here. The Hudson's Bourbon Street, West Edmonton Mall, stickers galore.
Yes,
lanyards galore.
I found them.
I'll hand them out. I'll give them to you. You got some GCs, I'm sure.
I have
kicking
some
around
GCs.
somewhere.
Yes,
for all the good people. It's gonna be a fun night.
I think so.
Ovi in town and late puck drops, so you can get down here and party a little early. A lot of pre-gaming left to go, shall we say.
Lots of time on this lovely, can I call it a spring Wednesday? Although spring doesn't start till the 21st.
I mean, I wore a sweater here.
I
stepped in a lot of mud, though. Got a little mud on my jeans, and that's okay, though.
Oh, no.
Get a little dirty tonight.
Oh, no.
Sam Carrick style.
LTE's ready to shake and bake. So is YouTube Trev. You can text us 780-218-9999. And if you're watching on our EST YouTube channel, get in on the nasty chat, the Oil and the Caps closing out the season series. Edmonton 39-21-3. Washington 30-24-9. And I'll just say this, Edmonton 28-2 on home ice. The Caps not so good on the road with a 13-14-4 record. On the morning show, I was tuning into you guys earlier, but what was the vibe you were getting from a lot of the nasties in regard to tonight's game?
Not much of a vibe either. It's just talking Ovechkin, Gretzky, that type of thing. We got to get that Gretzky chant going sometime during the game that the Winnipeg Jets fans were going the other night. Well, look, they're one of the have-nots right now.
True.
They're not trending, much like Sunday, Pittsburgh, the same type of thing. This should be one of those wins. Unfortunately, last week in Columbus too, you saw what happened when you go into a game such as that, and we all talk about it. So you got to show up. Noodles on the show this morning as well. So you can't a team that you can't take lightly, and obviously no team in the NHL you can. But he specified Washington. They played hard the other night. The Oilers have been off since Sunday, so. Yeah. We'll see what type of game the Oilers bring as well in terms of a 60-minute effort or a start or finish or what have you. So it'll be a test, but one I'm sure they're
heavy favorites.
You'll expect them to conquer and start off a homestand in the right direction.
I like the positivity. The Caps are 3 points out of a playoff spot in the East, surprisingly.
Yes.
And that's with a bunch of injuries. That's with lots of talk about trading a lot of pieces. No Nick Backstrom since like late October, Eric. And Edmonton, like you mentioned, has had its struggles against some lesser opponents, if you will. So I think the Oilers are in for a battle. I think it's going to be a fun night down at Rogers Place. I think it's going to be a fun night right here at Hudson's Bourbon Street. Can I just say something? One of these would be great on a patio.
Look at this. Nice and warm, too, for
you.
Room temp.
You like that?
I tell you, it's nice in here. It's a very pleasant surrounding in here. It's almost like you are in summertime on a patio with this.
Right. You and I said, we were talking about this. You and I are going to do some damage this summer, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
These puppies, too, are on special tonight as part of their St. Patty's Day menu right now at Hudson. So get on down, get a Guinness for a good price as well.
And you can also pick up 6 o'clocker lager here at Hudson's Bourbon Street. Steve, Adam, and the crew. Bartender Jeff also has
great work,
he knows you through the soccer connection.
Just fans, we don't need to spend too much time on the hockey pregame about it. I do not want to be that guy. I don't want to be chastised off this program just because I'm discussing the soccer. You're trying to spring a trap on me.
No, there's no trap. There's no trap. It's all
good guy. Jeff, though, you'll recognize him. One of the more familiar faces, I think, around here at Hudson's Bourbon. But no, it's a good night. I see an Ethan Morrow jersey as well.
That's Corey B.
Corey B here.
Andrea and Jay are here. There's a couple other tables of nasties. They're crushing some 6 o'clockers.
Well, I think that's time for me to leave.
Why? What happened?
The headset fell.
Oh, you kept knocking it off.
Well, I know.
Just give me the vibe before you leave. Give me the vibe.
The vibe is high. The vibes are tasty. I got to get some. I was planning to eat before you got here, to be honest with you, but I'm going to have to tuck into something now. It's either the steak sandwich.
Yeah.
The wings are on special as well. $5, I do believe. Wings.
49 cent wings.
49 is that?
There we go. So about $5.
traditional or boneless, or so either that, or the chicken strips.
Yep.
A YouTube Trev fave.
And Dusty Nielsen fave.
Yeah, and that side Caesar is just. Whew.
You're gonna have one.
Side Caesar was something here, but I don't know what I'm gonna get. Maybe I'll get all of them.
Do whatever you want.
The night is young and the GC stack is high.
Yeah, I've got some GCs to give away. Come on down, say hi. I'll buy you a beer, hook you up with some GCs. Thanks for stopping by, LT.
Thank you for having me, as always.
A firm handshake. There we go.
Love you.
That's our boy. I love you, too. There you go. Come say hi. Oh, he loves Trevor, too. Come say hi. Lieutenant Eric is here, and the boys will be coming down. Awanik, Dusty. Yeah, I'm good. Dusty will be down here. Trev will pop by after the pregame show. Right, Trev?
Yeah, absolutely. I will be stopping by. Wing Wednesday. LT just mentioned it. Sorry, I'm just fixing up the cameras here. I'll put myself on. But Wing Wednesday. Nothing better than that. I tell you, they have the best wings. All meat, whatever you want. They got it. So yeah, I'll definitely be stopping by. And LT was talking about their Caesar salad. They have the best. Oh, just one of the best. I'm a huge Caesar salad guy, and Hudson's every time. Oh my gosh, yeah. So. It's great. I will definitely be stopping by, Tommy.
All right. I'm looking forward to seeing you. I had a chance to catch up with you really quickly when I stopped into the studio to pick up all the gear. We got everything set up. We're in good shape here. It's a good vibe and still plenty of room, but some nasties are coming out. So come on down, Hudson's, Bourbon Street, and we'll be here all night long watching the Oilers and the Caps. How about you, LT? Or not you, LTE's right there. How about you, Trev, when it comes to this game? How do you look at it? Is there any concern from an Oilers point of view? Like, what do you think?
No, I don't think so at all, Tommy. Like, the thing that it's obviously the headline is OV chasing greatness, right? He's I think it's 55 goals shy of Wayne Gretzky's record, which personally I wouldn't mind seeing him break it. I know a lot of Oilers fans might not like that, but it's cool, right? This is a player I grew up, he was the Gretzky for me growing up, essentially. Him and Crosby both were. So whenever I got a chance to watch Ovi, I mean, it's cool, right? I missed out on the Bobby Orrs growing up. I missed out on the Gordie Howes, Wayne Gretzky, all those types of players. So for me, it's just cool. It would be cool to see, just watching Gretzky break all those records in the 80s and 90s. I never really had that growing up. So it's cool. So that's kind of why I'd like to see it. Just, one day I can tell my kids, like, oh, yeah, I got to see Ovi break Gretzky's record. So that's something I'm definitely looking forward to. But as far as being worried, I'm not worried at all. In saying that, the Oilers, they shouldn't take their opponent lightly. They have at times. So obviously they got to come in, start strong. We've been talking about that all season long, but looking down the middle, like you got Hendricks, Lapierre, your first line center. I mean, he was drafted the same year as Dylan Holloway, and he's not, he could very well be a first line center one day, but he's not there. I think he's got 14 points on the season. So he's your frontline center going against Connor McDavid. I mean, I like the Oilers' chances, and just looking, it doesn't stop there. Connor McMichael, they're a few years down the road with a lot of these players. They got Dylan Strome on the third line. I don't mind that at all. John Carlson, just looking at their defense, like it's pretty thin. And obviously they let go of Mantha. So this should be on paper. The Oilers they are the better team, and I expect them to show that today. So I'm not worried at all, Tommy.
Jets coming off, or Washington coming off a 3-0 loss to the Jets on Monday. Edmonton a 4-0 win over the Pittsburgh Penguins to wrap up that 4-game road trip. Alex Ovechkin, if you're going, how far behind Gretzky is he? Well, he's at 840 goals. Gretzky finished at 894.
Yeah.
So he's 44 away from tying, and then, like Trev said, 45 away from.
That's what it was.
55 from breaking. Pardon me. My math is not great. 54 from tying, 55 from breaking Wayne Gretzky's all-time goals record. He has 840 in terms of goals, 693 assists, 1,533 points in 1,407 career games, plus 45 lifetime with 813 penalty minutes. This year, through 60 games, Ovechkin, 18 goals, 30 assists, 48 points, minus 22 with 16 PIMs. You would look at 18 and 30 for 48 points in 60 games with pretty much most people in the NHL and go, that's a decent season.
Absolutely.
But it is Ovechkin, and he's been so good for so long, right, Trev?
Yeah, like absolutely. Even last year was he started off, and people are like, "Wow, like it's crazy." He started off so strong last year, and it was right from the get go. So yeah, it's these numbers that he's putting up, and you look at who he's been playing with as well, right? I was listening to his interview from yesterday and talking about what it means to play like with a player like Backstrom, right? They've had chemistry since dating back to when they first started in the NHL, right?
Yep.
So he's out of the lineup. They've been pretty injured all season. He's not really playing with any skilled and any like crazy skilled players. So the fact that he's put up these numbers this season, like, yeah, it's not the best numbers, but you look at who he's playing with as well, right? He's not there's nothing really going for him there. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens, Tommy, but I'm still rooting for him. I am.
All right, question of the night. I'll throw it out there, 780-218-9999, or via the nasty chat. Let us know your thoughts. Are you sad if Ovechkin breaks Wayne Gretzky's goals record, or are you okay with it? I know a lot of Oiler fans probably don't want to see it happen. I'm okay with it, Trev. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, I'm so okay with it, and I guess I kind of got into the question a little too early, but yeah, this is I think it's great for hockey, and it's cool. Records are meant to be broken, and like Gretzky said, if he's okay with it, everyone else should be. He says he's like, I'm going to be the first one that he said, I hope I'm the first one that shakes his hand and congratulates him. So what he's been able to do. And like hockey's changed. When Gretzky was, getting all those goals back in the 80s and 90s, like goaltending, it was still good, I'll say that, but it wasn't as good as...
Not like it is now.
Not like it is now. Like, it's not even close. So the fact that he's been able to be this consistent when scoring has been down pretty well his whole career. Scoring was down from the early 2000s there, and especially in the 2010s. Scoring was down, and he was consistently a 50-goal scorer, 40-goal scorer, 30-goal scorer. So what he's been able to do... he's just such a unique player. It's so cool to see. Yeah, he's a goal scorer as well, but there's a stat I seen a few years ago, but it was comparing the players from the Crosbys and all that, and just he's physical as well, right? He can lay the body, and like he's doubled the hits or tripled the hits of what Crosby's done in his career. So very unique player. It's good for hockey. I'm so for it. It's great. Yeah, it's awesome.
I'm with you. I'm okay with it if it happens. I do think it's still going to happen. So I'm looking at the nasty chat when Eric was on. He kept the mic away from his mouth. Eric was reluctant to hop on. He wants to have a nice Wednesday night. And by that, I mean not have to do any work. So I kind of roped him into coming on for the first 5 to 10 minutes. And people were like, tell him to talk louder. He did that on purpose. He knows that the mic, the further you move it on these ones, they're so sensitive that he deliberately, that was his signal to me. He's like, get me out of here. I just want to eat my wings. I want a fresh beer, and I want to talk soccer with Jeff, the bartender. So if you want to hang out with LTE, he is down here. Dusty will be down as well as Awanik. YouTube Trev's going to stop by. We are on location at Hudson's Bourbon Street inside West Edmonton Mall. You could text us 780-218-9999 or get at us in the nasty chat. And like I said, question of the night, are you cool with Alex Ovechkin beating Wayne Gretzky's scoring record? He's 54 goals away from tying it. What say you? We'll read those out as we roll along. VR Montenegro says, I would love to be there, but puck drop is past my bedtime. Also, I'll be at the White Ave stops closer to home. We will be back on location later on this month. I actually have those dates right here. I'll pass them your way. So we start this month at this Bourbon Street location tonight. And then on Tuesday, when the Habs are in town, we are also here at Bourbon Street. Thursday, the 21st, when Buffalo visits, we will be on White Ave. And then Saturday, the 23rd, when the Oilers visit the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's a 5 o'clock start. That is a White Ave night as well as a listener party. Today's kind of a quasi-listener party, so come on down. A good chunk of the crew will be here, and already LTE is down here with me. So I see our game analyst, Matt Kassian, is ready to go. Cass, good evening, sir. How you doing? What do you think about the question of the night? Are you cool with Alex Ovechkin breaking Wayne Gretzky's all-time goal-scoring record, being 54 goals behind going into action tonight?
Yeah, I'm totally fine with it. I hope it happens. And I know there was juice involved in the home runs with Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa, but I still just remember so fondly because my dad was just enthralled by the race. He's a baseball fan, and just being able to sit with him and watch every night and watch the home run race, and just how awesome that was. Now Alexander Ovechkin, it might not be in as big of a style as it was for those two players in that instance, but there's still just something really, really fun about it, and watching a player chase down a record that for a lot of people they thought was going to stand forever, and at least thought it was going to stand for a really long time. And there he's right there, Tommy. He is right there. Age catches up with everyone, and that certainly has contributed this year. So hopefully in the offseason this year, Alexander Ovechkin puts in the work just to be ready, because I hope he does. And you know what? It doesn't take anything from Wayne Gretzky being the great one. It doesn't take anything away from him in his overall total points record. But it would be pretty darn cool to see in the modern NHL a guy that just produces goals, just scores and loves to score. It'd be pretty cool.
I respect it, and I can appreciate the accomplishment. If he doesn't get it, Cass, I'm not going to lie to you. That doesn't bother me. I'll be like, oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Now, if he does,
I wouldn't be bothered.
I have no issues with it. Yeah.
I'd be a little sad though. Again, like, it'd be fun to watch the chase. Like, can you imagine how we will all be watching those games? Like, if he's 3 goals, 4 goals, 5 goals away, we'll all be watching it. Now, he's got a little ways to go yet. I never scored 50, so he's got a little ways to go. Some people, that's more than a career's worth, well more than a career's worth. So he's got some work to do. But Tommy, I do hope he gets it. It'll be fun. I would be sad if he doesn't.
I think Wayne would be there. The way Gordie Howe was when Gretzky broke the all-time points record Gordie Howe had. That was in Edmonton. And I feel like Gretzky would do the same thing that Gordie Howe did, in the late 80s when that record was broken. So kind of like a passing of the torch almost, to a certain extent. I mean, the points thing, that's bigger than just goals, but the goals thing is huge. And listen, if Ovechkin didn't have a lockout year in 04-05, if he didn't have a lockout year in 12-13, if there was no COVID, Cass,
he might already be there.
We would have talked about this a year or two ago. Like, it would have been over and done with. So
well, if you look at those, not COVID necessarily, but the other two, it's like if he gets 30 in both of those, it's already done. So,
exactly. Let's get to the nasty chat a little bit here. Andrea, Fun Size Andrea in the nasty chat says, I can confirm that was against Eric's will that I kept him on the show for 10 minutes. And X-Ray J says, LTE is my hero. Joel says, blink if you're there against your will, LTE. I have no remorse keeping him on against his will. He's enjoying his Wednesday, and I appreciate him helping out for a few minutes. All right, Cass, let's get into Game Changers now, brought to you as always by our good friend Damon Bunting and Damon Bunting Remax Elite. David Bunting, consistent top-producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among RE/MAX realtors. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Community-driven, he understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Cass, number 1, going up against the Washington Capitals tonight. Road woes.
Yeah, some road woes for the Capitals this year. A team that right now is 6 games above 500. On the road, though, they're sub 500, 13, 14, and 4 total overall. They, and after Christmas, they've had some struggles on the road. They get absolutely spanked against the Winnipeg Jets the other night, and maybe a little bit of a vulnerable team here for the Edmonton Oilers. Now, and we talked about this when we did our little thing this afternoon. That could mean you get the best.
That is the rink report. Thank you very much.
Sorry, the rink report this afternoon. It's a very important report. It's amazing. It's the best report out there. You definitely need to go watch it.
Yeah.
As we were saying, on the rink report. I think that could mean you get the
Yep.
best out of the Washington Capitals. Today, just based on that, they got absolutely crushed by the Winnipeg Jets, and it's like,
Yep.
you know, every loss like that just takes them further and further away. You know, they have a couple games in hand, or one game in hand really on the New York Islanders, a couple games in hand on the Tampa Bay Lightning, and they're a couple points back, and so you're going to see the best from them. But Tommy, I think a little bit of a vulnerable team here on the road. They were very much sellers at the trade deadline. I think emotionally, you have a group that's vulnerable. Maybe not as vulnerable as the Pittsburgh Penguins were the other night, but a group that's vulnerable nonetheless. So pretty important to make it a difficult road game. And the Edmonton Oilers on the flip side have been very good at home. Very good at home, which is fun.
Yep.
We like it when they're good at home. It's more fun when they're good at home because we're in the stands to watch. But the Oilers, since Christmas in particular, very, very good at home. Actually, since a little bit before Christmas, they started to get better at home. So it's, I think an opportunity here again to I want to say catch a team, but to punish a team that's maybe a little bit down already.
For those that are tuning in late and going, well, yeah, Cass, they've had a bad year. They've had a bad year. They have had a tough year in Washington. However, somehow they have managed to stay in the mix. They are 3 points back of the New York Islanders and the Detroit Red Wings, who both have 72 points. The Islanders are in the second wildcard spot in the East. Detroit has dropped 6 in a row. The wheels are falling off there. And then the Islanders went on a heater. But Washington, for whatever reason, have managed to kind of stay in the mix. So the Caps, like Cass said, 13, 14, and 4 on the road, but they're still there. This should be totally favorable for the Edmonton Oilers, but you never know. That's why, Cass, I think they're going to put up a fight, especially after what happened in Winnipeg the other night for the Washington Capitals. All right, it is game changers. Number 1 was road woes. Number 2, Matt Kassian, sniffles and man games lost.
Yeah, well, I mean, for the Edmonton Oilers, Matthias Ekholm, a little bit of the sniffles, not feeling great. Tommy, I don't know if we have any final confirmation yet. I haven't seen any if he's going or not. If he does not go, we could see Troy Stetcher step into the lineup. If he does go, Stetcher probably stays out. But this is less about the Edmonton Oilers. Pretty amazing when we look at that defensive group that they've only had like 3 man games lost this season, which is nuts for a team to have that few man games on defense. When we look at the Washington Capitals, it's been a completely different story. Now you're probably getting a bunch of bodies back tonight, where it looks like Wilson could be good to go here. Dowd could be good to go here. Harvey could be good to go here. So you might have a little bit of an injection back in that lineup. But even before that, I mean, they had all kinds of guys just banged up for pretty significant periods of time. Backstrom still out of the lineup. Kuznetsov, now he's traded, but he was out of the lineup for a significant period of time. Like you've had players that have been either banged up or out and missing, which is just another reason that this Washington Capitals team, it's crazy that they have managed to stay in the hunt as much as they have with the number of injuries they've had, the way they've been banged up. So they might get a little bit of a fresh injection here, but a lot of man gains lost by this Washington Capitals club, something that they've had to overcome. And, maybe they get a little bit of help today, but some fresh blood in guys that haven't played very much. And again, I think a team that's in a vulnerable position for the Edmonton Oilers to take advantage of.
Yeah, Cass, usually we throw out the starting lineups before we get to game changers or any guests that hop on. But like today, that roster and lineup for the Caps is totally TBD. So we'll find out during warm-up. We'll get an update there. I do have an Oilers roster, but you did mention that maybe Matthias Ekholm is a little bit under the weather, and if he can't go, we would see the debut for Troy Stetcher. Now, the plan is for Ekholm to be in the lineup, and the plan is for Stetcher to not play today. That is something that Chris Noblock pointed out yesterday. He said he wants to get him in at some point on this homestand, which kicks off tonight, but it was supposed to be just the 6 guys that we've seen over the last little while, essentially pretty much all season outside of when Broberg was here earlier in the season. I know Phil Kemp got into a game, played 2 minutes at forward, but outside of that, this has been the 6 that have basically gotten the job done for the Edmonton Oilers. So we will also update you when we find out more in regard to the Oilers back end and if Matthias Ekholm is good to go. All right. You can text us 780-218-9999 or get at us in the nasty chat. If you're listening on iHeartRadio or TuneIn or our EdmontonSportsDoc.com audio stream, text us 780-218-9999. And if you're watching on our EST YouTube channel, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff as we roll along here on Game Changers. Number 1 was Road Woes. Number 2 was Sniffles and Man Games Lost. Number 3, Cass, Henrique's fit.
Yeah, they're looking for a little bit of a fit, and we also talked on what's that segment called, the Rink Report, little bit about a little
makes
bit
his Rink Report debut and just dumps all over it,
just poops all over it. It's fine. It's actually is a really good couple minutes of information there. But we talked a little bit about Adam Henrique, or at least about the line that it looks like he'll be on tonight, playing with Connor Brown and Evander Kane. A little bit of a different mix. Chris Noblock talked at a decent length about trying to find a fit for him, try to find the players that are going to bring out the best in him, that he's going to bring the best out of them with. And I think, pretty positive feeling I have, I guess, about how this line could look. A lot of speed on both wings for him, a little bit of grit on both wings for him, and you're hoping he can just play that center role and use that versatility that he does bring to bring out the best in those players. Now, Noblock also talked about having him play some minutes on the penalty kill, so we could see a little bit of that tonight. He talked about having him have some time in the power play. Now, his role in that probably on the second power play unit, so I don't know how much we actually see of Adam Henrique on the power play. Probably not a lot, but maybe a little bit, But he's going to get a little bit of an opportunity. Again, a look with a couple players that at times, at least for Evander Kane, play on the top 2 lines quite frequently. In Evander Kane, Connor Brown, you hoped he would play on your top 2 lines, and he hasn't really, because he's struggled to produce offensively for most of the year, but a little bit of an opportunity for him too. So I think, a chance to see if this group is a fit for Adam Henrique, and as he just continues to adjust to life in Edmonton, to playing with the Edmonton Oilers. Tommy, I think this is a big one for him. I think it's a big night for Adam Henrique. Yeah. You're getting to play with some players here, Tom, and hopefully he can be the guy that helps drive that line.
Adam Henrique and Sam Carrick making their home debut, perhaps even Troy Stetcher, depending on if Ekholm is good to go, like Cass was talking about. I talked to Henrique a little bit yesterday, and I asked him about that. I said, hey, is it easier to catch up with the team on the road, or is it better to do it at home? And he kind of liked the road thing, like you said. And then Chris Noblock also mentioned the same thing. It's like you're away from the distractions. All you have to focus on was the team and the games at hand. And a bit of a tepid start to his tenure as a member of the Oilers, but we'll see if he can kind of spread his wings a little bit here and get settled in and start to put up some points, because they would appreciate that. And the ability to roll 3 lines fairly confidently would go a long way for sure for Adam Henrique and the Edmonton Oilers. How about Sam Carrick, Cass? He gets back into action today. Like, what do you expect from him? Should he be pissed off that he was sat last game?
No, I mean, maybe if that's what he needs to motivate him to have a night and to play really well, that not wanting to be out of the lineup. But I mean, he's one of the easier guys to take in and out. And that's kind of why you brought him in, to be another depth piece that you have as an option for you. Now, you don't want Derek Ryan going cold. You don't want Carrick going cold. Like, you want to keep these guys involved in the lineup. But for your bottom guys, I mean, you need to have some flexibility. And I think Carrick gives you that. A little bit of a different look than Derek Ryan in terms of just size and physicality. And so, yeah, I mean, should he be upset? Well, yeah, any player's going to be upset when you get pulled out of the lineup, and you're going to want to do something to make sure you stick. But is it like a justified, like, oh, there's no way they can take me out based on how I played? Well, no, he didn't perform to a level where you're like, no, he forced the issue where they can't take him out of the lineup. Now, for him, he wants to play like that, right? He wants to have the success where where Chris Noblock can't pull him out of the lineup, to say, no, he's doing too much. He's been too valuable. He generated too much, was too good defensively. He didn't make any mistakes. So he's going to stick in the lineup. I mean, you want him to get there, and he wants to get there. But the reality is you have not a ton of guys that you're pulling in and out. Like Sam Gagner was the easy choice before. Now it's probably Carrick and probably Ryan, where it's like, well, no, those two are the easy choice to pull out. So you know what? He can make himself more indispensable by what he does on the ice. And if he's able to accomplish things, if he, again, plays really, really solid, maybe generates some offense, then yeah, he's probably going to stick. But for the most part, we're going to see a little bit of a rotation in that bottom six. And Carrick's one of the guys that's going to rotate out.
Yeah. Healthy competition, nothing wrong with that, Cass. Let's see how it plays out down the stretch here. It is Game Changers with our game analysts, Matt Kassian, Tom Gazzola, live on location at Hudson's Bourbon Street. Take advantage of 49-cent wings, $6 Hudson's draft. And I've got some GCs to give away, and they do have 6 o'clocker lager in can form here at Hudson's Bourbon Street. Lieutenant Eric, Matthew Iwanek, and Troy are here, and Andrew and Jay. I saw a couple of other tables of nasties. Corey B is here, so come on down, and Dusty will be here as well as YouTube Trev. I don't know what the status of Zacticum is, but maybe he'll pop by as well. Okay, Cass, you had a chance to go into the Caps locker room today following their morning skate after doing just a stellar rink report with yours truly, I have to say.
Best one yet. It was the best one yet.
Yeah. By far the best one yet. And I'm completely biased, obviously. However, what's the vibe you got from the Caps in their locker room and chatting with some of their players today?
Yeah, well, I think, a lot of I didn't stay until everyone, they had some guys that stayed on the ice a decent amount of time. But it did seem like, Tom Wilson was going to be ready to go. So I wouldn't be surprised if he debuts tonight. And, talked a little bit about, being a team that's on the bubble, and they know they have to perform well every night and play well every night to have a chance. And that's where, again, I think you're going to see the best of the Washington Capitals today, where they're going to come out and they're going to come out swinging because they know that their playoff lives are on the line. It's already playoff time for them. That's kind of the vibe I got from them as well. Did get a chance to catch up with my my old teammate Darcy Kemper, which was good to chat with him in there. And we talked more just about life in general because we haven't seen each other in a while, which was good to catch up with Kemps. But again, I think the overall mood in the room was, it was very, very businesslike to a certain extent, where they're like, yeah, we know we gotta bring it. Edmonton's been good at home. We weren't very good against Washington, and we know that we need to have a night tonight. And that's, I think, the attitude that they had, and they're gonna try to bring it. So Edmonton needs to be prepared to play.
Cass Kemper has been an Oilers killer in 16 appearances versus Edmonton over the course of his career. The 33-year-old, 10-2-4, 220 goals against average, 926 save percentage, 1 shutout. He gets the start for Washington. And then at the other end of the rink, no surprise, really, it will be Stuart Skinner for the Oilers. Skinner this season, a 29-13-3 record, a 258 goals against average, 907 save percentage, 2 shutouts in 47 games played. Skinner versus Washington, Cass, 1-2, 271 GAA, 924 save percentage, 1 shutout. That coming earlier this season. And that was the game that kind of set the Oilers back on the straight and narrow that day. It was a Friday afternoon in Washington. We had a watch party at our studios. We showed it live while we watched, along with a bunch of nasties. It was a great time, but that was when the Oilers kind of got things back on track. How do you look at this goaltending matchup tonight, Cass?
Yeah, well, you have a now veteran guy in Darcy Kemper, who's won a Stanley Cup. He's had some success, and a younger, now not a rookie anymore, really, in Stuart Skinner. I think Skinner's a better goaltender. And Kemper had benefited, particularly with the Cup win, from an amazing team around him. But he's pretty steady, pretty steady, still fairly steady. And like you said, Tom, he is a guy that has had a lot of success against the Edmonton Oilers. And it doesn't matter what team you play on, if you've had a lot of success against certain teams, it's just, you have good vibes about it. You feel good about it. You feel ready to go. Yeah. You feel like you're going to have a night. And so, if I had to pick between the two, I'm still picking Stuart Skinner right now. If I'm picking a goaltender for my team, really, I am. But hey, you could, just like the rest of the Washington Capitals, see a Darcy Kemper that knows what's on the line, is very focused, has felt good against the Edmonton Oilers multiple times in his career, which means that, hey, you're going to have to get to him. You're going to have to get in his eyes. You're going to have to force him to try to make those impossible saves. You know, the old, I always say this is the Bob Mason scouting report on goaltenders, but yeah, usually weak up high on the second shot and really weak on the back door when he's on the other side of the net. So work for those second opportunities and work for those chances where he can't make a save.
I love the Bob Mason reference, and all I think of when I hear Bob Mason, there was a game in like 1988. I think he was with Washington, and they were playing the Islanders in the playoffs, and it went like quad overtime or triple overtime, and it was him and Kelly Rudy. And it was the Islanders that pulled off the win really late in the game. And Bob Mason was the goalie for the Caps. Did he ever talk about that?
No, but he was an interesting guy. I loved Mace. I mean, he didn't have a ton of interaction aside from I was always on the ice with him when he was doing the goalie drills.
Right.
He was a big fan of, usually when guys push pucks around the ice, you kind of use the blade of your stick and you push a couple at a time and you just kind of move them all. He was a fan of like making one big pile and then he'd put his stick flat, like all the way down, and then use to push them everywhere. Drove me nuts. I was like, this is ridiculous, Bob. What are you doing? I actually don't know if he ever shared that story. I don't know if I ever heard that come out of his mouth, but it wouldn't surprise me if at some point I heard it and I was just like, okay, Bob. Yeah, okay. Yeah. And just moved on.
Lot of great characters in the 70s and 80s in the NHL, and especially the goalies, for whatever reason. They're a bit weird. They're a bit odd, like our dear friend Joaquin Gage.
Yep.
I'm a little bit surprised it has not shown up, but that's okay. That's neither here nor there.
No. I mean, listen, goalies are goalies. They're a different breed, and we love them, but they're weird, and that's okay. That's just how they are.
They are very strange, but we love them, like you said. Cass, excellent work as always, my friend. We'll catch up with you on the post-game show.
Sounds good, buddy. I got a lot of people to report here that have been saying that myself and Joaquin are toxic in the nasty chat.
What?
So I'm filing all kinds of reports, trying to get people kicked off YouTube. I mean, it's just, not toxic.
You're not toxic. You're a neat boy. It's all good, Cass. I'll talk to you later.
I'm not a goalie, so it's
no, I know. It's all good. Okay, buddy. We'll see you in a bit.
All right, sounds good.
That is our game analyst, Matt Kassian, helping us get set for tonight's Washington at Edmonton matchup. That was Game Changers, brought to you as always by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. Check them out. Looking to get into the market or maybe sell your home, downgrade, whatever. Damon Bunting is your guy. I had a chance to catch up with Damon yesterday, and he is an absolutely tremendous individual. Can't recommend him enough. I'm seeing some of the nasty chat. I've got it on my phone here. You guys are being funny. People talking about LTE being held against his will. He's fine now. He's enjoying whatever. I don't know. He's having a snack of some sort. Awanik is here. Troy's here. They're sitting with Corey B at the bar. Come on down. I've got some stuff to give away too. I found the swag that I had left in the road kit, and I thought I had lost it. Don't tell Awanik, but I thought I lost like all these. We have lanyards, and we've got some really nice stickers as well and decals that I have available. So come on down, pick some stuff up. And the most important thing is I have GCs to give away, and a lot of those. I want to give those out, and so you come say hi, and I'll hook you up. It's as simple as that. YouTube Trev, any text you want to get to? Are you watching the text line, or am I just watching the text line?
Yeah, my apologies. I was not watching the text line, but I was kind of because you know why? I was too busy putting up this poll. I don't know if you can see it in the nasty chat.
I saw it. Yeah,
but,
I voted.
Oh, you did vote. Did you vote yes?
I voted yes.
Okay, well, yeah, you're not alone, Tommy.
Okay
35 votes so far. The question is, would you be okay with Ovechkin passing Gretzky's all-time goal record? That is the question of the day. Or night, sorry, and 57% of you say yes, you're okay with it. So, to those 57%, I agree with you, and that's a good choice. But I wasn't.
James. Oh, what were you saying?
Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to the number.
No.
So sorry about that.
All right, that's okay. James in the nasty chat said 2 mean guys and a mean goalie, talking about Cass, Dusty, and Gager. What else is going on in there? You guys, is there some bickering going on in the nasty chat? Come on now. Don't make me separate you. I like this one that came in from, was it Zedmo? Yeah, Zedmo says, a field hockey team showed up. Tommy gave all the 20s away. Might have been a mistake. No field hockey team here inside Hudson's Bourbon Street. I got this text from Chris in Fort Mac. Says, records are meant to be broken. End of story. Now there are records that will never be touched. I think that is more of something to cry about than someone breaking records. And says, let's go Ovechkin. Naughty Possum says, Tom, I was near Hudson's around 5:40 p.m. Wanted to see if you were setting up, but I had to go drop my kid off and get downtown for the game tonight. Let's go Oilers. Naughty Possum, good to hear from you. Yeah, I got here. Traffic was not good. 107th Ave collision. And, so I got here a little bit late, but we made it work. And now I have this sweet Guinness inflatable beer behind me. So come on down, say hi, pick up some swag and a GC. Live on location, Hudson's Bourbon Street. It is the Oil Stream, 780-218-9999. There is Eric. Are you okay? They're worried that I kept you captive. You're okay? What? I kept you like hostage.
No, I'm alive.
You're alive, yes.
Do we need a newspaper, today's newspaper?
Yes, we need you to post a picture of you with today's newspaper. He's fine. He's fine. Don't worry about him. Rip City Step says Kassian is too funny. All right, we're going to get you some lineups right away. We'll also go inside the locker rooms, get you up to speed on everything that's going on around the National Hockey League as well. Right now, St. Louis leads LA after the second period. 2-0 is the score there. 2-0 Nashville leading Winnipeg very late in the second period. You've got Edmonton and Washington coming up in about an hour, and then Vancouver hosts Colorado. That game starting at 8:30, which is not that long after the Oilers and the Caps get going. So quiet night in the National Hockey League. You can text us 780-218-9999. And if you're watching on YouTube, what is the poll question again, Trev?
Sorry, give me 1 second here, Tommy. The poll question of the night, would you be okay with Ovechkin passing Gretzky's all-time goal record? 44 votes.
It's a close one.
It's actually gotten a little bit closer now. So 55% of you say yes, and 45% of you say no.
All right, there you go. We'll keep that. You've been closing the polls quickly. Let's let that one ride a little bit.
Let it ride. Yeah, I got you.
We'll let it ride. All right. Let's go inside the Oilers locker room. Where do you want to go, or who do you want to hear from first, Trev?
Let's hear from the head coach first. Here is Chris Noblock.
In the past that there are different stages of the league. You know, there's the preseason, early season, things ramp up in December, and then maybe around now, like, and you've obviously coached. Is this the type of year the playoff teams are really getting prepared? Has that kicked in yet?
I think it's getting close. I know we talked about it yesterday in our meeting about we've only got 5.5 weeks left and about 19 games, and we got through a difficult stretch of playing 6 and 9, and we're all over the place with the travel, and our record was 4-1-1. We're very happy with it, but I think we can improve our game, and I think we need to start ramping up at starting to, getting ready for the playoffs. And not that we're always thinking about it, but it's starting to, just trying to find your game, because you can't just turn it on when the playoffs start.
Chris, what would you say about with your lineup, there's kind of this spot that is there, whether it's next to Leon or Connor, it's in the top 6, and there's been like a real good healthy competition, throughout the season for guys to play in that spot and to earn that spot. Is that a good thing to have, a place in your lineup where players can sort of strive to get their game to stay there and last there?
As a coach, I've always felt that it's best for the players to know their role and where they fit in, and shouldn't have to have extra competition for that spot. I think it's good in certain situations, but I think overall it's the players should be motivated enough just to perform at their best all the time and not perform well just to move up on the lineup to get a spot. That is a factor, but I think I believe the players, no matter where they are, want to play their best. and contribute as much as they can.
So with that said, I mean, how do you think the likes of, Fogel and Jan, different players that have, sort of spent time in there, how do you think they're kind of handling that?
I think they've handled it really well. You look at the, we've been happy with the Fogel, McLeod playing with Draisaitl. Janmark, when he's had that opportunity, I think he's done well. I think also, whether we're on the road or at home, or you've always won a line that maybe has a little different chemistry or makeup for that game. Whether it's the other team's putting more of offensive players against them, you maybe take off, you put a more reliable penalty killer guy in that situation, or you need a little more speed because the lineup matchup is more of a checking, slower line. I don't know. There's always that, and then it's also who's playing well at that time. There's a lot of things that go on in those decisions about who plays with who. Ultimately, we're just trying to find out who's going to complement Connor, Leon specifically at that time for that game the most.
Last one on this. Safe to say, this might be obvious, but in an ideal world, I mean, you find that fit. Somebody grabs that and makes it obvious, and it's not a question sort of week to week.
Yeah, absolutely. I think your team is always playing the best when you have got lines that are consistent and you're not moving guys back and forth. And if you are doing something, it's just subtle, moving one or two guys, switching a spot just because of a line matchup. You want a line that's a little more defensively responsible, or maybe a little more offense, speed, or whatever it is. It's a tactical decision and not just an emotional one. When things are going well, a lot of times it's emotional.
Chris, when it comes to your team's demands and the schedule you've had to kind of endure over the last couple of weeks, now being a slower week, how would you assess your team's ability to kind of, I guess, take on those challenges that comes with those demands in terms of all the travels, the games, lack of practice, etc.?
It's NHL. There's always times where you don't have that practice time. You're playing a lot of games, and I think we've handled whatever situation it's been. I thought we've handled it really well. And you can handle those situations really well because you've got a team full of good players and who are committed to doing things right. So, I've been happy with that.
Chris, since you switched your defense pairs, it seems you've rolled the three groups a little bit more, just kind of rolled them over. Was that part of the thought process at all in making that switch to even things out a bit?
Yes and no. We were trying to balance the ice time, and certain guys can play more minutes than others, and just the way they are, it's difficult. But yeah, I think it's just something that's just happened naturally, that the ice times have been more equal among the three pairs. But I also think we've been also very happy with the three pairs, how they played together.
Is that something down the stretch with so many games do you want to be cognizant of? Because there's really no break from the end of the regular season to the playoffs. There used to be even like 3 days off. You're going to finish on a Thursday, and you might play on the Saturday. So do you have to monitor even the minutes of your skaters, not just your goalie down the stretch?
Yeah, we're always monitoring how much they're skating, how much their workload is. Just because if they driving up their workload, and whether that's in practice or ice time in games, there's the risk of fatigue. And the more you can balance that, just the fresher they are. And you don't have to worry about that. And also when workload gets higher, and I've seen this numerous times, they're more vulnerable to getting injuries. And I think it's better. You obviously need your best players on the ice more. They contribute so much. And but also you need the other guys feeling part of the team, and it's just a balance on how much we use guys and whether they're playing well or resting them or whatever it is. I guess it goes from game to game.
When you add a piece like Henrique, you're the one that sits there and has to piece the lines together and figure out what feels good, what fits. What's it like having that extra piece that can fit in a few different spots, and sort of been doing this all year, so to suddenly have that, what's it been like?
It's incredible to have a player like that. Reliable, smart, contribute offensive. It's right now I would like to use him a little bit more, get him a little more ice time. I think it's been lower than I would like it to be in the first 3 games. But it's also difficult finding ice time, getting all 4 lines involved, especially when Leon and Connor on separate lines and playing 20-plus minutes a night. There's not much ice time for everybody else. So it's a balancing act. But I think his role will get a little more involved in the power play, a little more on the penalty kill. So there will be some more responsibilities and time on ice. And, just try and find the best line mates for him, too, to help contribute. But he's a wonderful addition to our team.
Skinner tonight?
Skinner tonight.
Anything else notable, like what we saw yesterday, probably what you roll with?
Yes. Yeah, that would be it.
All right, that was Chris Noblock, head coach of the Edmonton Oilers. That was from this morning following his team's optional morning skate. Just a handful of players taking part today, but notable, they're talking about Adam Henrique, and Henrique just 3 games so far as a member of the Oilers. Impact minimal. I think it's very safe to say that. We'll see if he can start to get things going, find his groove with this Oilers team. He was brought in here to add some secondary scoring, and he's had a good season thus far, 42 points. He needs to get it going with the Edmonton Oilers, and that hasn't been the case just yet. If you're wondering what the Oilers lines look like today, I have those for you, and we'll roll them out right now. As for the Caps, they have a bunch of to-be-determined players that might be returning from injury, so we'll actually wait till we get some lineup stuff from warm-up in terms of updates there. All right, for the Oilers, this is what we're anticipating today. They're skating like this yesterday at practice, and as you heard there from Chris Noblock, doesn't anticipate any changes. So McDavid between Nugent Hopkins and Hyman, Draisaitl centering McLeod and Fogle again, so he's going to have to play with pace, which is a good thing, and that line's been pretty good of late. And then Henrique centering Evander Kane and Connor Brown, which is interesting. I don't necessarily see the value in that. I do feel like maybe they want to try to get Brown going, and that's one way to do it. If some people are thinking that Brown is quicker than Corey Perry, I don't really buy that either. So we'll see. Maybe this helps him get off the schneid tonight. Then on the 4th line, we've got Sam Carrick with Matthias Janmark and Corey Perry. Things aren't going well for Brown. I can see Perry on that 3rd line in jiffy. On defense tonight for the Oilers, Ekholm with Bouchard, Nurse with Desharnais, Kulak with CC. It's anticipated Stetcher and Ryan are your scratches. We'll see if Ekholm is good to go. You heard Cass talking about it earlier. Maybe Ekholm is a little bit under the weather. We shall find out. We do know that it will be Darcy Kemper for the Washington Capitals in goal, and then it will be 25-year-old Stuart Skinner for the Oilers. Skinner 1-2 lifetime versus the Caps, 271 GAA, 924 save percentage with 1 shutout in those 3 appearances versus Washington. And then Kemper versus Edmonton, a really good record, 10-2-4, 220 goals against average, 926 save percentage, 1 shutout in 16 appearances versus the Oil. This year, Kemper 13-12-3, 315 goals against average, 893 save percentage, 1 shutout in 29 games. And then Skinner 29-13-3, 258 GAA, 907 save percentage, 2 shutouts in 47 games. YouTube Trev, let's go back inside the Oilers locker room. Who's next?
He's 7 goals shy of becoming a 50-goal scorer. Let's hear from Zach Hyman.
With Henrique being added to the lineup, kind of his ability to move around and such, just if you get the sense that the group is, more experienced, deeper, what that sort of immediate effect is of adding a guy like that.
Yeah, all of the above. Definitely deeper, definitely more experience. Guy who's been in the league a long time. And like you said, very versatile. Can play wing, can play center, can play up and down the lineup, can play both special teams. So it's always great to have a guy like that.
What would you say you've noticed in the early days here about his game? Maybe some things that help at playoff time, some subtleties that he has in his game?
Just steady. I think, listen, anytime you're going from one team to another, you've got to adjust system-wise, and you got to get to know a lot of different people and players, so that's not easy. But I think with him, just steady. I think every time he's been out there, you just feel safe. You feel like, you're not going to get scored on. You feel like you have the puck. So I think just early on, the word I would use is steady, and in the playoffs, that's what you want, is somebody you can rely on in all situations, and because the margins are so tight.
There's other players have said that there's a league, there's a preseason league, there's a December league, things sort of change, and then there's a ramp up for the playoffs type of league. Is it there yet? Are the playoff teams sort of getting to that style and getting ready already?
Yeah, I think after the deadline, everybody's got their team, right? So that's exciting. You have the team that you're going forward with into hopefully the playoffs for the teams that want to get there, obviously. And then for the teams that are out, you're calling up younger kids who want to make an impression and make a name for themselves and stick around for the following year, right? So I think this time of year, everybody's playing for something, and the stakes increase no matter where you are in the lineup. So, I mean, for us, obviously, we want to continue to push, get better, and be the best version of ourselves going into the playoffs and secure home ice and do all those things, because every little edge matters.
Zach, fatigue is a factor in the game. 6 games in 9 days, and now you got had a little bit of a break. You got another 2 days off, and then a game, another 2 days off. Do you notice it as a player? Like, was it noticeable for you when you're playing 6 games in 6 days in 6 different cities?
Oh yeah, I mean, we're human. Like, if people, I guess, watching forget, you just think as a fan, even myself as a fan, you watch and it's like, oh, another hockey game, but really for players, you're traveling across the country, playing different time zones and playing pretty much every other night or back to back. So yeah, that was a grind. I thought we didn't necessarily play our best, but we still I think we managed a 4-1-1 record throughout those 6 games, which is pretty solid, all things considered. But as a player, it's just part of the job. You have stretches in a season where you're going to be having a schedule like that, and then stretches like this where you can kind of take advantage of the rest and prepare for the next stretch. Because it feels like March and April every year, they just kind of bunch them together to get you primed for the playoffs.
Last year, many of the veterans said you need to be better defensively. You guys have played a lot tighter games. Your goals against is down significantly. You mentioned 4-1-1. You only average 1.5 goals against. Do you sense a higher level of comfort in your defensive structure as a team and playing in tighter games?
For sure. I think first and foremost, you only have your goalie is everything, right? And our goalies have been phenomenal. Both guys have been amazing over the stretch. I think defensively we help them out as we can. Obviously, early in the year, I think it's impossible for the goalie to play well with the way that we were playing and the chances we were giving up. But I think now we've really figured out the system. I think Chris has done a great job coming in and helping us clear that up. And I just think we're all on the same page. And obviously, I think we've been doing a good job of limiting chances. I think one of the big things were the rush chances against, and I think we've done a good job of that as well. And like I said, it all comes down to the goalies, and they've been playing really well.
One of the interesting things about your lineup is there's this spot, a top 6 spot, and you've got a bunch of players that are, probably all have their eye on it, and rightfully so. What have you sort of seen in the competition, Fogle, McLeod, Janmark, these guys, this opportunity is there in their pursuit to sort of elevate, and that's probably a good thing to have that sitting there for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think every team's constructed differently. I think in our case, obviously, I think we've added pieces, like you mentioned, at the deadline to give us more depth. I think we've got an immense amount of depth throughout our forward lineup, and we can have guys moving up and down the lineup based off of how they're playing and how the team is doing, right? I think that sort of internal competition, like you mentioned, is great because it keeps everybody hungry and keeps everybody striving to be the best version of themselves, and in turn, that helps the team be the best version of itself. So I think everybody's got one singular goal, and that's to win as a team. So I think individually, guys just want to be the best versions of themselves.
There is Zach Hyman. He is definitely the best version of himself this year, having a tremendous season for the Oil. Hyman, 43 goals, 19 assists, 62 points, plus 28, 40 penalty minutes, 62 games played. Absolute beast out there as he continues to truck along for the Oilers. And then at the other end of the spectrum, a guy that we thought would be Zach Hyman light has been anything but. And there's some discussion about Connor Brown in the nasty chat. I want to get to some of these texts and some of these nasty chats. 780-218-9999. And if you're watching, you can get into the nasty chat. Eric said, if Connor Brown doesn't score playing with Henrique in the next 5 games or so, he should be done for the year. Good for him if he can back check. We need more than that in the playoffs. Yeah, I don't know. Where do you come out on all of this, Trev?
Well, one thing I will say, the game against on Sunday. Oh my gosh, drawing a blank. Pittsburgh. Yeah, thank you for that, Tommy.
I got you. I got you, boo.
I will say that was probably the most noticeable performance I've seen from him all season long. He had decent looks. He was obviously forechecking, back-checking. That's something that's been in conversation all season long, is his hustle, right? Does he provide speed? Not really, but he does get to that, top speed with his hustle, you know what I mean? So I don't mind the looks that they had. Cass was kind of onto something tonight. He said he's got a good feeling about that line. Dusty talked about it on the morning show as well today. He has a weird feeling, and so do I, Tommy. I don't know why.
Really?
I don't mind that line at all. So Dusty said on the morning show, he says that line will score a goal. He didn't necessarily say Connor Brown will score a goal, but for sure, I think that was his best performance as an Oiler this whole season, dating back to the preseason when he actually did score. But yeah, as far as this season goes, that was a really good outing of his. I liked it. He had some looks, and what he did with Darnell Nurse. If it was any other situation, he probably would have put the puck on net. But he looks over, he's like, "Oh, Darnell's chasing a Hattie tonight. Maybe I'll give it to him." So that's what he did. So it's kind of. I don't know. I like the chemistry. They got to build on that. He's playing with Kane and Henrique. I don't mind those players. Here's hoping. I'm really intrigued just to see Henrique, right? He's getting a little bit more acclimated to the system. He's getting more used to the boys, and everyone's different, right? So I honestly, I got a weird feeling. I'm telling you. So here's hoping that line can score tonight, maybe, and maybe Connor Brown. Can he get off the schneid? I don't know. Time will tell.
I'm laughing at the nasty chat. I'm following along a little bit here. Joel says, every game, everyone is like, oh, tonight he's going to get it tonight. Guess what? Oh, he almost did get a goal. And then you got, was it Dr. Gonzo, who says he's not used to clean-shaven YTT. And then Duck Dad saying Brown was noticeable. There you go. Let's go, Brown. And James says, I want someone to mock up a Hyman book called Dear God, It's Me, Connor Brown, and get it signed.
That's good.
Funny.
That's good.
Rip City Step just walked in. Good to see Rip City Step. I didn't catch him. He knocked on the table, and I was reading the text. So hello, Rip City Step, who is clearly not listening because he's pulling up a stump beside the crew, who is all here. So come on down Hudson's Bourbon Street. We're going to be here all night long. It's a quasi watch party, even though it is an official watch party. But I've got a bunch of GCs to give away. I've got even if you just say hi, like $10 GCs here. They got our logo on it. Very, very nice. I have some 20s. And then I've got some swag to give away too. Got some decals and stickers and then some lanyards. So just come by and say hello. And we'll hook you up with something that'll eat into your tab. Maybe even buy you a beer. I wanted to get to a couple of texts as well. The question of the night was, would you be okay with Ovechkin passing Gretzky's all-time goal record? 54 goals behind Gretzky right now. And right now there is a poll up on the nasty chat if you're watching on YouTube. 62% say yes, 38% say no, and that is at about 100 votes or just below. And then there were a couple of texts that came in regard to this that I want to read. DJC says, that is the beauty of sports, as players surpass other players. It creates more conversation about who's better in what era against what competition. I hope that Ovechkin does surpass Gretzky so that we can continue to have debates about who the best scorer is and who the best hockey player is. Thanks as always for a great show, Tom, and YouTube Trev. Thank you, DJC. I like the conversation it creates. And you know what? Gretzky, what does he have? He still has like 60 NHL records. He's looked at this one and said, if Ovechkin gets it, good for him. He'll be the first guy, like Trev was saying earlier, to go and give Ovechkin a handshake. I believe, and I think for sure, Wayne would go and follow Ovechkin when he's on the cusp of beating it. And I'm sure they'd do a ceremony, just like they did with Gordie Howe and Wayne Gretzky in 1989 when Gretzky passed Howe on the all-time points list in the National Hockey League. Let's go to Colorado. Rusty here, who texts in and says, I'm good with Ovi breaking the record as long as no American commentator starts talking about how he is the GOAT, greatest goal scorer. Okay, greatest player, not a chance. Colorado Rusty, I agree. Not so much about like the American commentators calling him the GOAT, but more so on the greatest player. He's not the greatest player. I think Lemieux, Gretzky, or maybe even Gordie Howe. Certainly, you could say Sidney Crosby probably is a better player all around than Alexander Ovechkin. And certainly, Connor McDavid's going to make a case for himself. He's going to have to win a Stanley Cup or two. That's for sure. But greatest goal scorer, I'm with you, Colorado Rusty. I would give that to Ovechkin. Greatest player, niet. You know what I'm saying.
Absolutely, Tommy. And just on that last comment, that's one thing I didn't mention. I forgot to mention, but it does create conversation, right? It's cool to have these conversations, right? It's all part, and it's hockey history, right? Like that's another thing. It's just a bonus. It's hockey history, and it's just the fact that he's been able to do this in a hockey era where scoring is this tough. It's just so impressive. I remember the conversations. I was in grade 12 back in 2016. He just got 500 goals that season, and the conversations were, will he be able to do it? And people were like, no, like there's no way. And some analysts were breaking it down. Well, if he has to do it, he's got to get like 4 more 50-goal seasons, which I think he did, or at least got 3. And it's just crazy that so many people were doubting him then, and you look at how much ground he's caught up. It's really impressive. So, yeah, just to echo my thoughts from the beginning, I think it's very impressive, and I'm so okay with it. It's great for hockey.
It is. It actually is. Okay, a couple more texts. I like how it's speaking of creating conversations, doing it on this show, which is fantastic. That was the intention of the question, certainly. Cole Harbor Joe chimes in and says, these 8:22 puck drops on a Wednesday suck. We've got to get the system into playoff mode. Yep, we're going to be seeing some 8 o'clock starts. C-Dub in Tulsa. Ooh, evening, boys. Springtime here means big storms and big games. Should be a whopper. Brownie off the schneid tonight. I can feel it. C-Dub in Tulsa. And look at that storm front moving in. I remember my time in OKC, and there were some vicious storms that would cut through the Midwest there. Stay safe, C-Dub, and hopefully all is okay with that huge – that cloud is a monster coming in. Shaggy in St. Albert says, I hope the Oilers don't base Capitals' level of competitiveness on their last game against the Jets. Can see Oilers taking Capitals lightly and not show up for the start of game. And we have the same tired conversation we have after game about Oilers' work ethic. Shaggy, I think a lot of people would agree with you on that one. I mean, if we're talking about the same issues that we did certainly last Thursday against Columbus, and then even for the 2 out of the 3 periods that we saw Saturday afternoon against Buffalo, then that's something that's going to piss off a lot of fans and frustrate a lot of people, and we'll certainly get the pot and the discussion going tonight on the post-game show. But the Oilers just stick to their guns. They should be okay. That's if. That's the big keyword there. Displaced Yukoner says, I'm fine with Ovi getting the record as long as it takes more games, and it will. Yeah, he's definitely slowed down this season. Ovechkin so far, if you're wondering how he's doing this year, not at typical Ovechkin levels in terms of goals, certainly, and definitely points. 18 goals, 30 assists, 48 points, minus 22. and that is through 60 games played. He's missed a couple of games this season, which is rare for him. Thank you, Jade. All right, let's go back into Rogers Place, and let's go to the Washington Capitals locker room and head coach Spencer Carberry.
Nick and Marty might be good to go. Is that the case?
Yeah, we'll make sure that everything is good this afternoon and then make a decision tonight. But we've got some guys potentially coming back in the lineup tonight.
What's Tom's status for tonight?
He will be game time as well. Just making sure that he's completely comfortable injury-wise and able to suit up, so he'll be a game time decision as well.
It's the first time that Henrik Lapierre's played against Edmonton, which means first time against McDavid. Do you have that conversation with him about anything regarding his game, a challenge, something like that?
I talked to him before just about overall coming down this sort of back stretch of the season and his not just his performance, but he's going to be put in some situations, especially I talked to him specifically about the road trip, and when you don't control matchups and changes, you're going to have some difficult ones, especially playing with Ovi and playing against some of the teams that we're playing. Usually they've got a top six that is rolling pretty good. And so embrace it. As a young player, I feel like sometimes they just get resigned to the fact that it's Connor McDavid and, okay, well, but for him, he and Connor McMichael and these young players, they're trying to prove that they're great players or going to be great players in this league too. So it's a great challenge for them in meaningful games to be able to play against the best players in the world and push the envelope. Are you going to dominate Connor McDavid? No. But can you sit there and go toe-to-toe with them for a few shifts and be defend him well and win some draws? And so that's what I draw with those young guys and have tried to help them through as we go down this final stretch.
You guys have done a good job lately of bouncing back after a difficult game and not letting it become a spiral. What's the key in doing that today?
Yeah, we had a good meeting, good practice yesterday, and our team, you're right, we've responded throughout this year when we've had not our best the previous game, and we're going to need it tonight. It doesn't always necessarily mean that you're going to win the hockey game, but we need to put our best foot forward and have our best stuff tonight, especially tonight coming into this building against, since we saw them last, best team in the National Hockey League.
Chucky's been carrying a lot of the mail for you guys lately. You're obviously going to need both guys here with the back-to-backs. What goes into the decision to go with Counts?
Yeah, Chucky's been outstanding, as it's been well documented, but Darcy, as a product, it's been unfortunate because he hasn't been playing as much as he would like. But that's a product of how well Chucky was playing, and I've said that a bunch. And Darcy now gets an opportunity to come in and play in a huge hockey game for our team on the road against a great team, and a good opportunity for him to step up big for our group.
All right, there was head coach of the Washington Capitals, Spencer Carberry, there, talking about the opportunity for some of his young players to face Connor McDavid in a tough building, as the Caps, who do struggle on the road, face an Edmonton team that has put together a nice run at home. 19-13-1 is Edmonton's road record. Their home record is 28-2, whereas the Caps on the road are 13-14-4. And I was just looking for a quick update on the lineups. We do have some news when it comes to the Caps and the roster, but how they're going to roll out their players tonight, we shall see when the teams do get into the line rushes and warm-up. It is an 8:22 puck drop. So if you're wondering what the hell is going on, why aren't they on the ice for warm-up? It's a late 8 o'clock start. 8 o'clock is, quote-unquote, an 8 o'clock start. So 8:22 is the official puck drop tonight, 14 minutes later than usual with an 8 o'clock start. The update I was alluding to was this from Capitals PR. Alexei Protas, lower body, out tonight against the Oilers. Tom Wilson, upper body. Nick Dowd, upper body. Martin Fehervary, lower body, are expected to return to the lineup. So where they get inserted into the Caps lineup, we shall see in time, but that is the expectation, that Wilson, Dowd, and Fehervary are back in action for Washington. As for the Oilers, Cass was talking about Matthias Ekholm potentially being a little bit under the weather, but I expect him to play. We'll see when the team is on the ice for warm-up, and we'll pass that along your way. I did want to get to this from the nasty chat. Shout out to Corey, who says, "Let's go Oilers," cheering loud and proud from sunny New Zealand. Corey, thanks for watching and listening on Edmonton Sports Talk all the way from New Zealand. We appreciate that very, very, very much, and hope you get to enjoy a lovely day watching the Oilers where you get the result that you want, and that would be an Oilers victory. So all the way in New Zealand, thank you so much, Corey, for tuning in. Let's go to depth of Nuge defense. Evening, Tommy. Hope all is well and sincere. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that very, very much. Yes, sad week for our family, but everyone's getting through it. Grandma Gazzola passing away. She was a great lady, lived a long time. So thank you to everyone who, I should say, has been texting and sending us messages at EST. We appreciate that very much from all of us at the Gazzola family. Sincere thank you. Let's go to Chris now. Chris says, checking in from Dallas. I got a spot in the hotel lobby to watch the game on TNT on a reclined chair in front of a big screen. Going to be getting that Tulsa Storm tomorrow. Brown gets 2 tonight. Book it. Chris, you crazy? How many beverages are you in already? Couple. I don't know. Brown on the third line with Kane and Henrique tonight. If you didn't catch it, you got McDavid between Nugent-Hopkins and Hyman. And then you also have Draisaitl centering Fogle and McLeod. That line, I think, has been pretty good. I think they've actually been Edmonton's best line the last couple of games, getting some results offensively, and we'll see if that continues. And then maybe you get that third line with Henrique and Kane and maybe Brown. Who knows? He's got to get off the schneid at some point, you would think. The fourth line with Carrick, Janmark, and Perry. No changes to the defense expected unless someone is under the weather, and Kaz was talking about Ekholm, but I figure he should be good to go. Let's take a look really quickly at out-of-town scores. The Jets down 4-0 in the third to Nashville. Nashville is just peaking at the right time on an absolute heater. 11 minutes left to play in that game. And then you've got St. Louis up 3-0 on LA, so that's not good for the Kings, obviously. Coming up after the Oilers and Caps get going, it will be the Canucks welcoming the Colorado Avalanche to town. So, man, I'm looking at this Nashville team. Like, they have 78 points. They would be third in the Pacific right now, ahead of LA. LA losing right now. We watched Vegas with the comeback win in Seattle on Jordan Eberle's 1,000th game night. They were up, they were in control, and the Golden Knights managed the comeback win, which was a shot to the you-know-what for the Seattle Kraken and Jordan Eberle on his night. So these Preds are just cruising 8-0-2 in their last 10 games. They're at 37-25-4, 78 points. And Vegas now at 77 points through 65 games, 3-6-1 in their last 10. But the Golden Knights have rattled off back-to-back victories. Meanwhile, the Avalanche, who come in on Saturday, have won 4 in a row, 7-2-1 record in their last 10, 41-20-5, and that's good for 87 points. If you're wondering where the Oilers stand, you compare them to the Vancouver Canucks. Edmonton, 39-21-3, good for 81 points. 10 points back of the Vancouver Canucks, who have played 66 games, 3 more than the Oil. 42-17-7 is the record for Vancouver. So there's your update. I'm looking at text. Thank you to everyone again for the condolences. Appreciate that very, very much. Dr. Gonzo pointing out that the Kings are losing and facetiously says he hates to see it. So good text coming in. Keep those coming. 780-218-9999. YouTube, Trev, any updates? Anything you noticing?
No updates, Tommy. I was just looking at the good old Twitter or X. Yeah, didn't see anything, but you'd mentioned the Nashville Predators, and yeah, what a story! What a good season it is for them. They made some off-season changes with Duchesne out, and obviously they got Ryan O'Reilly, who's having a pretty good year with pretty good first year with the Preds. So it's a big surprise, and I'm for it. They got a lot of heart, they got a lot of hustle, and it's maybe not the most skilled players, but they got that hustle, right? And they're working as a team.
Yeah.
You like to see it. It's good. I like it. It's a good surprise, but I'm here for it.
All right, we do have an update when it comes to the Caps lineup from Bailey Johnson, beat reporter from the Washington Post. Bailey saying that we'll see LaPierre between Ovechkin and Oshie, Strome centering Miroshchenko and Milano, McMichael with Pacioretty and Wilson on his flanks, Dowd back in action with Mallenstein and Nicholas Aube-Kubel. On defense for Washington tonight, Martin Farivari making his return, paired up with John Carlson, Rasmus Sandin with Nick Jensen, and then Trevor Van Riemsdyk with Ethan Bear. So those are your lines for the Washington Capitals. And I'm going to just try to quickly see if there's anything in regard to the Oilers and if there was any late changes. Have you seen anything, Trev? I'm just taking a quick scan.
No,
here.
but just looking in the nasty chat right now. Apparently, Gregor has Stetcher in and Ekholm out.
Okay.
But keep an eye on that.
Let's
go check that out for
what
sure.
Greg's has. All right, I'm looking at Greg's here. His Predators dangerous. Greg says Ekholm will not play. Stetcher will make his Oilers debut. Will wear number 51. All right. So there you go. So like Cass was saying earlier, Matthias Ekholm under the weather, not good to go. And Troy Stetcher a little sooner than the Oilers had planned, making his debut with the orange and blue. May as well get him in there and see what he can do. So I'll wait to see if I do get an update in terms of line rushes and all of that. I'm looking. I haven't seen that specific tweet from anybody just yet, but if I see it, I will point it out and update everyone. So there you go. Stetcher in, Ekholm out, illness, and the lines remain the same for the Oil, like I mentioned earlier. McDavid between Nugent Hopkins and Hyman, Draisaitl with McLeod and Fogle, Henrique between Kane and Brown, Carrick, who's back in action with Janmark and Perry. So the Oilers with a bit of juggling on the back end, and that would be what? Just the fourth man game lost on the back end due to injury/illness for the Orange and Blue. I would say that they have been quite fortuitous and certainly very lucky all season long. So there you go. Troy Stetcher, the veteran, making his Oilers debut. Looking forward to that and see what he brings to the table. If you're wondering what kind of defenseman Troy Stetcher is, he's a little guy, but he's scrappy, moves the puck well, has a little bit of offensive touch. And Trev, you liked him with Calgary last year, right?
Yeah. The Flames, I believe they got him late last year from the Arizona Coyotes, and I watched a lot of Calgary Flames games. I still do. But my buddies back home, they were just in awe, and they were quite ticked when Troy Stetcher didn't sign, or they didn't give him the option to sign with the Flames, because he was noticeable. And when I watched the Flames games, he was very noticeable. And you said, yeah, he's a little feisty guy. Not the biggest guy, but he's feisty. He can throw a punch. He's got some fight to him for sure. He's physical. He's got a nice puck on net approach. That's it's plain and simple, right? Puck on net. He doesn't do anything crazy. He's not the fanciest, but I'm really excited to get the first look from Troy Stetcher tonight. And I think he might make his presence known a lot quicker than the likes of Adam Henrique. Maybe you look at a team, a player like him. Well, a player like him, you look at it. He's played for the Canucks, the Red Wings, the Kings. He's always just shuffled through teams, and so I feel like that might have some carryover coming into the Oilers. He's done it a few times. You look at Henrique, he hasn't done it since 13-14 when he was with the New Jersey Devils, right? And then he was with Anaheim for all those years. So I think I'm really big on this player. He was a very noticeable player when I watched him for the Flames. I like him a lot. I'm excited to let's definitely pay attention to Troy Stetcher, number 51, making his Oilers debut tonight.
All right, I'm seeing some nasty chat. Says CC back with Nurse. Let me know where those posts are, and I want to read out the roster for tonight. I'm just looking who's down at the rink right now. Come on, somebody give us an update from warm up. Yeah, no, we'll get that to you ASAP. And I do want to point out that in this LA St. Louis game, it's like a total 90s night. The Blues are wearing their mid 90s uniforms, which I always thought were super nice. And then the Kings have their kind of modern throwback with the silver and black. And the Blues with a beautiful goal from Brandon Saad in those really, really nice uniforms. 3-1, they lead the Kings in the third period. 4-0 Nashville over Winnipeg. Edmonton and Washington coming up shortly. Vancouver welcomes in Colorado to town as well. Those are your games for tonight on a quiet Wednesday in the National Hockey League. All right. You can come on down. Hudson's Bourbon Street. I've got a ton of GCs to give away. Just come say hi, and I'll hook you up. I've also got some swag as well. The boys are here. Dusty's going to be here right away. Awanik and Eric are already here, as well as a bunch of nasties. You can get some 6 o'clocker lager. It is wing night, 49-cent wings, boneless and bone-in, and then $6 Hudson's draft as well. It's going to be a fun night down here at Hudson's Bourbon Street, and we're back next week. And at Hudson's. And Rip City Step says, Tommy, do you have a vape charger? If anybody asks me for a vape charger ever again while I'm on the air, so help me God. I'm just saying. That happened our first night at Hudson's on White Avenue. We are back here on Bourbon Street on the 19th. That's the night of the Montreal Canadiens game. And then the 21st at White Ave. That's against Buffalo. And then the 23rd is a listener party as well on White Ave. So we're on location 4 times a month at Hudson's. Come on down, take advantage of the specials, come say hi, and get a GC as well. Dudley says, I don't know why they keep trying to put Kane and Brown together on the same line. It hasn't worked all year. I know Kane and Draisaitl doesn't work as well. That's been something that hasn't worked all year. And then I'll also give you an update on the poll that we put out there. Would you be okay with Ovechkin passing Gretzky's all-time record? 62% say yes to 38% who say no. And I think everybody kind of agrees. Yeah, creates good conversation, and nobody has a real problem. There he is. Dusty Nielsen just showed up. Is he going to come on? Hey, are you coming on? Like, okay. All right, Dusty's going to hop on for a bit. Sorry about the yelling. He just strolled in. He looks befuddled. Trev, he looks befuddled. But it's going to be okay.
He always looks befuddled, Tommy.
He's a busy boy. So, all right, let's go to this one. Comes in 780-218-9999. It is the Oilers and the Capitals. You're listening to the Oil Stream pregame show. Tom Gazzola live on location at Hudson's Bourbon Street, where people are saying hi. And Dusty just showed up. He will be here all night, and you can take advantage of some great deals. And Dusty will be hopping on shortly. This text comes in. It says, I'm happy for Beck Malenstein. He was one of my favorite hitmen back in the day, but I wasn't sure he would make it. He was a really hard worker, though, so I guess it's no surprise. I know that Cass is a big fan of Beck Malenstein, and if you're wondering how Beck Malenstein's doing so far this season, Malenstein, where is he here? 6 goals, 12 assists, 18 points, a +7 on a team that has a lot of minuses, 23 PIMs in 62 games. So a good role player. Quick update on the out-of-town scores. Nashville leads 4-1. Winnipeg has gotten on the board. 5.5, 5:58 remaining in the third period. There he is. Are you okay? What's wrong? Do you need a 6 o'clocker lager? Oh, okay, good. There he is. Dusty Nielsen. Yeah, it's our new thing. It's our new set. Oh, there he is. Come on in. There he is. The big man himself. Hello, Dusty. Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm doing great, buddy.
You're doing great? Well, all right. Just fix that thing. You know how to work this thing. There he is. If you have any texts that you want to send in, any questions, 780-218-9999 or via the nasty chat. There he is.
First time working this thing.
Yeah.
All right.
Hi.
Is that you or is that me?
You're cranking me up.
There. Now I'm got
Now,
Yeah.
I know you're deaf, but
hey, Tony, how are you?
I'm good. Where were you?
Where was I? I just came from home.
Oh, from home. I
Yeah.
thought you were busy. You're always doing
No,
something.
I had a doctor's appointment. I've got this cough I've had for like 3 weeks.
Stay away.
I know. So they gave me some antibiotics.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So I'll
Okay.
get better here right away.
All right. So
yeah.
Avoid Dusty if you come on down.
Yeah, if you come on down here tonight, don't come shake my hand. Just let me be. Let me be.
I'm kidding. Actually, pretty good turnout for a Wednesday
Yeah, this
night.
is great.
Yeah.
This is great. I mean, obviously, wings are rolling out there tonight.
I've got some.
Oh, did you have some?
Sweet chili.
I
Yeah.
still think I might go chicken tendies and a poutine, but we'll see.
Well, sure.
Yeah,
Why not?
yeah, but no, it's packed in here. This is real
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah,
So
it
this is good to see a lot of Edmonton Sports Talk hats.
Yep.
So that's fun as well.
More people rolling in, and I do have GCs. I'm glad people have figured it out. They don't ask me where to sit anymore.
They just come in and sit.
Yeah, they realize that. Oh no, this is a radio station and not a concierge / maitre d'.
A lot of people are set up like this, eh? Like
Yeah.
concierge, like
They always have a
come
light.
down and get your lanyards and stuff.
I
This is
found
great.
those. I had
Yeah.
misplaced them in our road kit.
Yeah.
And I was wondering where the heck they were, and I found them today.
Yeah, I saw them yesterday when we were at where were we? Boston Pizza 2 days ago.
Yeah.
I saw we had a whole stack of them in there. So
Yeah.
No, it's good. So what did I miss? I've been putting the kids to bed and stuff for the last hour.
All right.
Is Ekholm in or out?
Ekholm is out,
He's out.
and Troy Stetcher will make his debut. And then the Caps
baby.
have a bunch of guys who are back in action. Wilson in, Dowd in, Faravari in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so some big time tweaks to, the Caps lineup for sure. And then for the Oilers, missing the big Viking on D. What do you think of that?
Well, what are they doing here? Who's playing with Bouchard? Kulak?
I was trying to find it. I didn't see an update. I was looking for
I think you have to go Kulak with Bouchard, and then Stetcher probably plays on the left side with Desharnais.
Can you
that
do
would,
well,
I
yeah.
mean, he has. You're not going to play Desharnais on the left side. I think you put the more mobile guy over on the left side, if that is the case. Yeah, that's probably what you have to do. Trying to think
I'm
what
trying
the
to
other
find
option
it.
would be, but yeah, that's probably what you know what? They've been so healthy, and this is just an illness, right? This
Yes,
is-
as
so-
far as we know, just an illness.
I mean, hey, some of us can grind through it, but yeah, this will be good. Like I want to see what they look like. They've been very healthy on the back end, like ridiculously lucky healthy.
I know.
On the back end. So let's see what this blue line looks like without the guy who has basically come in, and we know this because Stoff tweets about him 3 times a week. He's completely stabilized their blue line since he rolled in here. So let's see how everybody else holds up. Let's get a look at Stetcher, see how he looks. Let's see if Bouchard, can handle more of a workload by himself as opposed to riding shotgun alongside Ekholm. So I mean, you don't want to see it, but I kind of think it's okay to see it right now.
It's a test.
Yeah.
Right? Because everything, like you said, has been pretty, knock on wood for oil country, pretty good. Uh-oh. Oh, boy.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
Thank you, Troy.
Yeah, the Godfather's here.
Yes, I know. I saw him earlier.
The Godfather always delivers.
He's always delivering.
Hey,
get over here. Get over here.
Yeah, you get some
There.
GCs, and you guys take some GCs.
Take some
for the road,
GCs.
eh?
Wait,
there you go.
wait. One more.
What are you saving over there? Oh, he's got 20s too. There you
Yeah.
go.
There we go.
That's for your lady friend, eh, Tommy? Eh? Classic. I think you're coming back. Okay.
Oh, okay,
AM
good. I
Nasty's
told
coming
him
back.
I was gonna give them some.
The best
so.
damn jersey in the league right there.
He's
that
got the AM Nasty
Mind you,
jersey
there's
going.
Ethan Morrow right ahead of us.
That's Corey B.
Yeah, he was in there when I went over and saw the guys.
Corey B's lips have grown back.
That's a stiff drink.
Oh boy.
His lips have grown back, eh?
Yeah,
Oh, that's
he
good.
did the hot AF wing challenge
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago, and he said it burnt off a couple layers of his lips.
Did
So-
you? I don't know. You've been here doing the pregame. Did you watch any of this Winnipeg Nashville game?
I briefly looked
Yeah,
up
it
a
looks
couple
like
of
they
times.
Flipped over, but
yeah,
I watched the first 2 periods tonight with Marshall because Tam and the Muzz are at hip hop dance class.
That's awesome.
And this isn't a fluke here. This Nashville 10-0-2 run, man. Like they rolled into Winnipeg tonight, and it was a Roman Yossi clinic for the first 2 periods. Like we don't get a chance. I'm outside when they play the Oilers. How many times are we sitting down on national TV and having a chance to watch the Nashville Predators?
Very rarely.
But man, Roman Yossi tonight. I mean, a stretch pass on the first goal, jumped up into the play, set up the second goal. He's just, I mean, that dude, like that guy's just. Look, you don't want to play anybody in the West in the playoffs, and you probably would take Nashville if you're the Oilers ahead of the Golden Knights or whatever. But that Roman Josi, man, he is. I mean, we don't have to. I mean, look at the seasons he's had recently. But that's a defenseman who can dictate a series.
Yes,
like that's how good that guy is.
Yes,
I don't think the Oilers they have great defensemen, guys who've been playing good this year, but they don't have a defenseman that can take over a series. Whereas some of these other teams in the West, I think they do. So, man, Nashville was great to watch tonight. Last I saw, they were up 4-1. They're rolling. They look really good.
They're still up 4-1 here.
They look really good.
You got a 3-1 win in St. Louis for the Blues over the Kings.
We were on the Blues as an underdog on the lock shop.
Did you see the uniforms they were wearing today? It was like all 90s.
I haven't seen anything from the Kings Blues game.
Oh, it was beautiful. No, it was.
I was just watching the other one.
I wanted to show you this. I have it right here. They were rolling out highlights of it, and look at that. That's a 90s, straight up 90s nice. Combo, mid 90s.
Those are nice.
Yeah.
That takes me back. Who's between the pipes there? Daniel Berchum? Remember when he was a King for a little bit? Yeah, he was great.
Yeah, I do remember him. Or like
Rob Stauber.
Rob Stauber.
Got some Rob Stauber vibes there.
There was also, oh boy, who was the guy that was the Canadian World Junior goalie in '95?
Jamie Storr.
Jamie Storr.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be like the next Kings
Jamie
goalie.
Storr was a big deal, man.
And it never really took, right?
Like,
and then St. Louis is wearing like the Cujo Grant Fuhr.
Great.
Beautiful.
Roman Vopat. Those types of jerseys. Those are great jerseys.
I think of Jeff Courtnall in those as well.
Do you really?
Yeah.
I don't know if I hit a Jeff Courtnall in those ones. Those look nice though.
They are beautiful.
I had a big win for St. Louis. Like as we laid it on the lock shop, they were like St. Louis has to have that, right? Like this, they have no room. Where are these up to date?
Let me refresh them for you. So now they should be up.
Yeah. So they're still 8 points back in Vegas.
Yeah.
But Nashville's at 78. Yeah, they're not going to catch Colorado. Nashville's going to be a tough battle there with the Kings and the Golden Knights for that first wild card spot.
Could you imagine if Nashville just continues to ride high in these last 16 games? They beat whoever they face.
Well, right. I mean, as of tonight, I guess they would play the Canucks in the first round.
Yeah.
Right? No, they would play Dallas in the first round tonight.
Yeah.
But Winnipeg's got those games in hand. Winnipeg's probably going to finish first in the Central, just with the games in hand that they got these other guys. I don't think Winnipeg wants to play Nashville in the first round of the playoffs. Like I know we're always talking about like if it's the Golden Knights. But if they continue to roll, like if they win, I don't know, 11 of their next 16, they're going to be the hottest team in the league going into the playoffs, maybe outside like the Panthers or something. And I don't know if you want it. I don't know if you want any of that smoke.
You want? I don't want none of that smoke.
I don't want none of that smoke, man.
All right, Dusty, you want to take a prediction for tonight? This Oilers Caps game. What do you think?
Well, since we did Oil Stream today, I was kind of throwing around the 4-1, 4-2 thing, but with Ekholm out. And with Washington healthier than they were in Winnipeg, and the fact that by all accounts, Winnipeg was just awesome in that game. So better than they were tonight against Nashville.
Certainly.
I don't know, like 3-2-ish for the Oilers. I still think the Oilers should win this hockey game. But yeah, I'll go 3-2. Let's go 3-2.
Okay. I was surprised when you threw out like the 4-1 earlier, and so I'm going to stand by my 4-3 Edmonton. Even though they got Farvari, Wilson, and Dowd back in action.
Wilson's the big one out of those.
That is the
group,
big
right?
one, yeah. So Edmonton's been playing really well, and they've taken care of business. Certainly they did early in the year against Wash. That was when we did the watch party.
That was the watch party. That was the very first time we cracked a 6 o'clocker lager. Absolutely turned the season around.
Yes.
Turned it around.
You can get 6 o'clocker lager. Can form here at Hudson's Bourbon Street. I think we're going to wrap things up. It's been an extended pregame show with this damn
an hour and 40 minutes.
8:22 face-off. It looks like they're starting to get ready to go. Look at the beauty shot from downtown, looking very nice. A beautiful spring-like day. Tomorrow's supposed to be even warmer. Let's see if the Oilers can start to kick it into
Connor Brown goal tonight, my man.
Somebody said 2 on the nasty chat.
Let's just stop.
I know.
That's ridiculous.
I know. That's the other thing that these late starts do. They give people a head start for drinks.
And stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But I would think, I still think it's going to be like a shorthanded odd man rush for Connor Brown to score. Lock it in.
Yeah, next week he gets that goal. All right, Dusty, thanks for stopping by.
Yeah.
Huge thank you to everyone who tuned in and texted in. You know, we appreciate you so very, very much. For Matty Kassian, Dusty Nielsen, Lieutenant Eric, and YouTube Trev, I'm Tom Gazzola saying thank you. Enjoy the game. Thank you, everyone, for the kind words for our family. We appreciate it. And we'll catch up with you on the post-game show. Enjoy the game.